What's up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up, Steeler Nation? How's everybody doing after that game? Another heart attack. Another heart attack game we experienced there. And give me just a second, guys. It was so late. Well, it is so late, and I forgot to put this show here in the Steelers groups on Facebook. So give me 2 seconds to do that. But you guys talk amongst yourself. How's everybody feeling tonight? Whose the fault? You know, who's at fault for the Steelers losing the game? Because I'm going to take a different approach, right? First of all, let me welcome you guys to the latest episode of the Terrible Towel post-game show. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel Basement, a.k.a. the virtual Heinz Field. And I want to start off by saying that because some of you guys may or may not know my normal routine or my normal train of thought and things of that nature. So I figured I'd just put that out there. I'm going to start something. I'm going to start, opposing these things a little differently. I want to hear from you guys, and I'm sure I won't see it immediately. Because I'm not looking in the chat. But the theme of the night is who's responsible for the Steelers' loss, right? Because I told you guys, no longer will I argue people's opinions. I will just allow you to have your opinion, in terms of the coaching staff, and I'll just let you have that. But I'm very curious to see how you guys approach tonight, because tonight was very interesting on so many accounts. Of course, you saw people saying Mike Tomlin should be fired. You saw that in the first half. Okay, if that's how you feel, fine. And then, the Steelers start to come back. So then you ask yourself, well, is that Mike Tomlin keeping the team together, or did the players start executing? Like, I really want to know what you guys have to say tonight. Like I said, hold it for a minute. You guys can definitely, converse amongst yourselves. But I'm really going to try to speed through my notes so we could just chop it up in the chat, because I really want to know where your guys' heads are. Because, again, I have been consistent about this team. Haven't I been telling you guys, and I'm going to repeat this later in the show, I have been telling you guys, this team is going to do enough. They're going to compete. They're going to give you false hope. They're going to do just enough to make you think maybe there's a chance. And that's what they did tonight, even after being blown out. I mean, whipped. You saw the title of this video. Embarrassed. Defense got embarrassed, and yet we're looking at the last play of the game where the Steelers have an opportunity to score and then go for a 2-point conversion to keep the game going. Crazy. But let's get into it, man. And I'm not even going to say hello to the early commenters or none of that tonight. I want to get right to it because it's already late. I'm not staying up all night tonight, guys. Let's get to it. First and foremost, excuse me, you guys know I always talk about the first drive offensively, first series defensively. So let's do that. Oh, actually, before we do that, let's talk about the inactives. Tonight, Joe Hayden, Haskins, McFarland. I don't understand what's going on with McFarland. Davis, Buggs, Spillane, and Finney. So we already knew we were going to see some different people out on the field in terms of middle linebacker position here and there, inside linebacker. And then obviously with Finney being out, Legoo got his first crack at it. Key injuries to keep an eye on. TJ Watt goes down in that game very early. Growing issue. TJ already had a growing issue earlier in the year. So let's see how things go down the stretch. Who knows? I mean, if you re-aggravated that growing, that could sideline you for another 3-4 weeks? How many weeks are left in the season? I'm just saying. Alex Highsmith also goes down. He said something about a knee. And it was interesting because I saw that play when it happened. You saw, he kind of got landed on. I don't know if his knee got twisted up, but you saw him kind of laboring. He couldn't get up. He was right by the sideline. And I couldn't tell if he was hurt, but I wondered if he was hurt. And then come to find out he was hurt. So key injuries to take a look at, if there's any constellation or any, ray of hope. The Steelers played on Thursday, which means they have a mini bye, so to speak. We'll see what happens. But anyway, let's get into the other stuff. Penalties tonight, and I may have missed one or two, but quite a few penalties tonight. Claypool called for a personal foul. Oh, I'm going to get into Claypool in a minute. He's coming into the office. Illegal block on the kick return. Not sure who did that, but remember it was an illegal block, like an illegal double block or something. I didn't catch what number it was, but it was a penalty. Deontay Johnson called for holding. Chooks called for a false start with 21 seconds left in the half, I might add, and it was a 10-second runoff. Killebrew called for holding. Turner called for a false start. Minka called for unnecessary roughness, which was a bogus call. Bogus. I'm going to talk about that a little later, but that was a bogus call. There was no helmet-to-helmet contact. Bogus. That's why I said those plays should be reviewable, period. It helps every team. That particular play, personal fouls, things like that should be reviewable the same way they review it in college. I'm just saying. Ineligible downfield on Chooks, not really his fault on that play, if you guys remember that. And then there was an illegal block in the back by Legou as well, right before the 2-minute warning. So quite a few penalties, man, that needs to be cleaned up. Tonight's office visits, just so you guys know. Mike Tomlin, I'm going to call him in the office, and you'll see why. Chase Claypool, he's coming into the office. And pretty much the entire defensive front. But let's get to it. First defensive series, the Steelers did kick off. The Vikings started the drive on the 25. Boswell kicks it out of the end zone. He did that quite often tonight. I wonder why he didn't do that last week. I'm not going to get on Bos too much, but again, I wonder why Boswell didn't kick that ball out of bounds, out of the end zone last week instead of kicking it out of bounds and allowing the Ravens to get the ball on the 40. Cousins was able to find Jefferson on the first play for 8 yards. Dalvin Cook, very next play, rips off a run of 20 yards. And oh boy, would that be the theme of the night. Cousins almost hits Jefferson on a touchdown on that same drive. And what did he almost hit him on? A play action. For you guys who follow all of the videos, you guys may have watched my pregame show last night. What did I say? What did I say the Vikings like to do quite often? Play action, play action, play action. I kept saying that. That was just my brief watching of their game against the Lions. I said, they like to do play action. They like to do play action. And there you go. That should have been a touchdown. Should have been a touchdown, but, Jefferson dropped it. He beat both Sutton and Minka, kind of split them, and it was a tad bit overthrown. He couldn't really get both hands on it, but that should have been a touchdown. Then on 3rd and 11, the Steelers are able to hold and force the Vikings to a missed field goal, which was great. You thought that was great, right? Because then the Steelers were able to start their drive on the 43. So, first offensive series. Ben finds Ray for 7 yards off a RPO. Very tight throw, but he found him. Najee runs the ball for 2 yards on the next play. Ended up in a 3rd and 1, and then Najee was able to pick up the 3rd and 1. Claypool gets called for taunting after a pickup of 6 yards, and it made it 2nd and 19. And I forgot to put that in my penalties, but I have it here in the notes. Claypool gets called for taunting. Very stupid. Literally reaches out and pushes the guy in the face right in front of the ref. On the very next play, Ray drops a pass. Ben was pressured by Anthony Barr, but Ray had to kind of go to the ground for it. Should have caught that, but he drops it, brings up a 3rd and 19. Ben is able to find Deontay Johnson for 15 yards, and the Steelers go for it on 4th down. And Ben scrambles for the 1st down. Interesting. And then the Vikings, of course, were called for defensive holding, so either way it would have been a 1st down. Benny Snell loses 2 yards on the very next play, which was 1st down. Ben then gets sacked, loses 6 yards. Trey Turner got beat, kind of got pushed back on that play. We ended up into a 3rd and 18. And then the Steelers are unable to get the 1st down, but Deontay Johnson did pick up 7 yards on that play. It made it an easier field goal. But then Wizard of Oz comes out and he misses the field goal. Misses the field goal. And Mike Tomlin on that drive, challenged that fumble. Remember Ben fumbled? I'm calling him into the office, but we'll get there. Let me go through all my other stuff first. We're going to do the office visits later after I get through that because I want everybody to hear my thoughts with these office visits. All right, so key moments. I'm just going to go quick, guys, because I want to get in the chat tonight. I really want to get into the chat tonight. Whoa, somebody said rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas. Yikes. Did he pass away? Holy moly. Demaryius Thomas, the receiver? Was he a receiver? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Because, you know, you forget some of these names. That the one who played for the Broncos. Hold on, man. This is more important. Let me somebody confirm that. Is that Demaryius Thomas, the receiver, right? Is that who we're thinking? Ah, man. All right, guys. Quick moment of silence for Demaryius Thomas. I'm gonna cut the music and everything. Real quick, man. How old was he, guys? Did anybody know that? How old was he? Probably was in his 30s, right? 33. Jeez. All right, guys. Moment of silence. I'm cutting the music, and we're gonna hold a moment of silence for Demaryius Thomas, man. Rest in peace, man, to Demaryius Thomas, man. Definitely gone too soon. 33 years old, man. That's not old, guys. That is not old. Wow. Okay. All right. All right, man. Let's get back to the football thing, man. Yeesh. So, let's get into these notations, man. Like I said, this is a late night one, guys. It's already 12 o'clock, man. So I gotta get through this and get through it quick. Key moments. Vikings start on their own 40-yard line after the missed kick by Boswell. Cook rips off 30 yards on that very next play. Looks like it was against dime, but I don't know if it was dime. I think it actually was nickel. The reason why I put here that I thought it might have been dime because I noticed that Lane was out there, but then if you watch the game, Justin Lane was playing in nickel. Most of the time when we went in nickel, Justin Lane was playing on the outside, and we slid Cam Sutton inside, and Kilo Witherspoon was on the other side, which is interesting. This, again, lets you know how far James Pierre has fallen. All right, so Madison rips off a 14-yard gain right after Cook's 34 yards. If you do the math, that's 44 yards down the field already. And then Cousins is able to find Jefferson for a touchdown. Off for what? Play action pass. Steelers second drive. Steelers pick up 7 yards. Claypool fumbles attempting to reach for the first down. And it got overturned, you know, because it said he was down by contact, which I kind of thought it was. I text Kenyon and Tony, was like, looked like his shin was down. Steelers were unable to convert a 3rd and 1. And then Claypool missed a block on Xavier Woods. Remember, they tackled Najee in the backfield. Again, I will be calling Claypool into the office as well. Cousins comes back and he finds Jefferson for 18 yards on first down. Dalvin Cook rips off another run, 16 yards. Jefferson beats Justin Lane for what would have been a touchdown. You remember that one? And I've notated here, I want to go back and look at that play and see what coverage we were in and see where Minka was, because, you know, it didn't look like the safety was nowhere to be found. Makes me kind of think that might have been a single high look. But again, this is just post-game reactions, guys. These are my knee-jerk reactions. I haven't looked at the film in real time, I don't always know what the plan is. I might see a formation, and sometimes I might notice the coverage if I just happen to glance and look at everybody as far as the secondary. But a lot of times you don't see all of that in real time. So this is the reason why I don't just crucify coaches and things like that immediately, because I want to go back and watch how we approached, how we approach the game plan defensively. But we'll get to it in a minute. But then, again, like I said, I needed to see where Minka was at on that play. Warmly got a good pressure on Cousins, and we held the Vikings to a field goal. At this point, it's 9-0. And then I wrote a notation here, what defense were we playing there? See, I leave notes so I can go back and look. Third drive, Ben was sacked off of a play-action attempt. We lost 9 yards. Steelers unable to convert a 3rd and 16. We go 3 and out. And at this point, guys, I'm just giving you all the heads up. I didn't write anything else down for a while in terms of defense because our defense wasn't doing anything. So at this point, I just started recording just our offensive drives. But before I do that, round of applause to Victory Asher for the donation. I will read his comment as well. Victory Asher says, I've been hard on Ben all year in a really bad way, but he came back with a vengeance tonight and balled the hell out. Made me cuss right there. He says, damn, Ben in the fourth quarter has been clutch as of late. Yeah, Ben has put it together. He has put it together in some of these fourth quarters, but that is a problem. And again, I'm not blaming Ben for that, but the offense. We keep saying that. We've been saying this all year. We have been saying that since Buffalo. I know I have. The offense does not get going. And when they get going, it's too late, and it's crazy. But it is crazy to see how many points this Steelers offense can put up when it finally gets going. It's just crazy. But anyway, man, get back to the notes. Fourth drive for the Steelers. Steelers are called for a illegal double team block on a kick return. We ended up in a 3rd and 7. Ben was sacked by Harrison Smith, and it looked like Ben didn't even realize he was at the line of scrimmage. And we went 3 and out again. 3 and out again. And the reason why I said it didn't look like Ben realized it because he never looked his way. And mind you, Harrison Smith all night was up on the line, and he was hauling it back to the deep, getting back deep in coverage. We did a little bit of that with Cam Sutton last week. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Ben thought he was just going to continue to do that. But again, anytime an extra man is up on the line from jump, he's not even teasing it. He's just up there. You got to peek his way. And it looks like Ben never looked at him. So again, they fooled us on that one, or fooled Ben. Because like I said, if you watch the game again, because I just got this from memory. As I'm watching the game, I'm noticing Harrison Smith is up on the line and he's running back when the ball is snapped. That particular time, Ben doesn't even look at him, man. Never looked at him. Fifth drive, there was a holding by Deontay Johnson. Backs the Steelers up. Ben gets sacked again. Steelers are forced to punt. That is 3 consecutive 3 and outs. Sixth drive, 44 seconds left in the half. A false start by Chooks. 10-second runoff. Leave the Steelers with 11 seconds, and you know how the half ended. Second half, 7th drive, Killebrew gets called for holding on a kick return. Trey Turner gets called for false start after the Vikings were called for offsides. So it canceled each other out. They gave us 5, we gave the 5 right back. Like they were saying hello to each other. What's up, player? Come on. Ben gets sacked again on that drive. Steelers go 3 and out once a game. Once a game. Let's see. I just got a text from the good brother Tony in Kenya. Let's see. Oh, yeah, you already know. Tony, I'm going there. Don't worry. 8th drive. Najee rips off a run of 23 yards. Very next play, Ben throws an interception trying to find Deontay Johnson on the RPO. Now, some people will say it looks like Deontay didn't run all the way through that. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. What I would say is it still was tight coverage. That was tight coverage regardless. So you were taking a chance either way. And again, it seems like the RPOs, those type of RPOs, just the basic, either we're going to hand it off or pass it, have really been a significant part of our offense, right? So guys are playing tighter coverage because, Ben is going to pull it and throw it really quick or he's going to hand it off. So again, even if because I heard even Troy Aikman was saying, Deontay Johnson has to run through that more. And listen, I'm not trying to act like I know more than Troy Aikman, who played the NFL and is a Super Bowl champion, right? But in my opinion, the coverage was tight either way. So that's probably not going to be a first down anyway. It was just one of those forced balls in there, and unfortunately, it got popped up and it was picked. Minka gets called for unnecessary roughness, which was a bad call. You guys already know that, but I had that notated here, so I did start to notate the defense again a little bit. 9th drive, Ben finds James Washington for the deep shot down the left side of the field. Then Deontay Johnson drops a touchdown. Deontay had 2 drops in this game. 2 drop touchdowns, I might add. Come on, Deontay. Don't start that. Don't start that. Don't start that. Don't have this year where you only had 2 drops after last week and now you had 2 again. Don't get on this drop run because that was a touchdown. But anyway, Ben was able to find Najee on that drive, pass to Najee for the touchdown. There you have it. Very next drive, Devin Bush. Devin Bush gets a PBU. And Ahkello Witherspoon is able to get the pick. If you remember, they was trying to hit Jefferson, which they was hitting Jefferson all night on the crossing routes, deep crosses. I mean, deep crosser, whether it was from shotgun or whether it was from play action, was the go-to tonight for Cousins. But anyway, Devin Bush gets underneath it, tips it just enough. Ball goes to Witherspoon, interception. All right, 10th drive. Ben finds Claypool down the right sideline. Chase goes up and gets it. DJ comes back and draws the pass interference. We ended up in a 3rd and goal, and the Steelers were able to score with the run by Najee. And I notated here that LeGlue made a great block on Harrison Smith. Cam Hayward comes back and gets a 2-yard tackle for loss. Steelers are put in a 3rd and 7 situation, and the Steelers forced a 3-and-out. There was great pressure by Taco Charlton and Montravius Adams, and a nice pass breakup by Minka. Minka had a pretty solid game, man, as far as, coverage and things of that nature. 11th drive. Ben finds Deontay Johnson deep down the left sideline. Smart move by Deontay to slow up and draw that pass interference. And then Ben comes back and finds James Washington down the seam for the very next play. Steelers score. Now, if you watched my pregame show last night, what else did I say we could attack? Didn't I say that the Steelers would be able to attack the Vikings down the seams and inside the numbers? Remember? I said middle of the field, inside the numbers is where the Steelers should be able to feast a little bit. And we started doing it later on in the game, and we was having some success. Steelers were unable to convert a 2-point conversion, and I wrote here that I may have kicked and went for the extra point there. I can see both sides, and let me just say this. I'm not mad at Tomlin going forward in that situation because we're going to need a 2-point conversion either way. But I do definitely understand what Troy Aikman was saying. I'm sure some of you guys felt the same way. Maybe you take the extra point there, make it an 8-point game, and then, you kind of force the Vikings' hand a little bit, and then you just hope that you score again, and then you go for your 2. I don't think honestly, I don't think there was a right or wrong thing to do there. It's just however the coach felt or however you would have felt. Like I said, I may have gone ahead and kicked it in that situation because there was a lot of time left on the clock. And like I said, maybe it puts the Vikings in a situation where they feel like, oh, it's a 2-possession game now because it's a 9-point lead. You see what I'm saying? But it worked out, right? It worked out. That was not the reason the Steelers didn't win the game. So you're going to agree with some decisions. You're not going to agree with some decisions. Right after that, Sutton gets beat. Sutton gets beat for a 62-yard touchdown off of what? For my people in the back, say it louder. What did he get beat off of? Play action. Play action. I got to pat myself on the back just a little bit, guys, because I scouted it perfectly last night. Almost everything I said came to fruition as far as what they like to do on offense. Play action, play action, play action. And I said their main target was going to be Jefferson. I mean, the blind man could have guessed that. But it's unbelievable how exactly what I saw on tape is what they put on display on Thursday. And it is what it is. So at this point, the Steelers are forced with the 12th drive. Steelers run 3 straight times. Then they get called for a delay of game on the 4th and 1. And I did notate here, why didn't we call a timeout? Nobody called the timeout in that situation. Tomlin didn't. Ben didn't. So don't think I didn't see that. I've always told you guys, and I'll tell you in a minute when I bring Tomlin into the offense. The things that I've always had an issue with Tomlin has been his time management and his challenges. I don't always agree with him, but we'll get there. Round of applause to the Uncanny Shane. Appreciate the donation, and I'll read your comment. He says, did you see Claypool celebrate the first down with 30 seconds left instead of clocking the ball? Probably cost the second shot at the end zone at the end. Yes, I did, but uncanny. And a lot of you guys in the chat, y'all stealing my thunder, man. Y'all stealing my office visit thunder. Of course I saw that. But yeah, appreciate the donation, and we're going to talk about that here in just a moment, man. Let's see. What happened after that? So we had to punt the ball because it was nobody called the timeout. We got to delay a game. We had to punt. Steelers were faced with a 3rd and 10. Defensively, Cousins scrambles for 11 yards. That almost killed me. Because what have we seen in the last, say, 3 weeks? You know, not so, Lamar a little bit. We kind of contained Lamar, but we have seen guys from Herbert to Burrow to Lamar Jackson, which of course Lamar Jackson's going to do it. But we have seen these consecutive games where these quarterbacks are scrambling when we're in a man situation again, when we're playing man. And again, I mean, you don't think Kirk Cousins is going to scramble, but it's just ironic that in these situations we're in man, and that's when we get scrambled on. And it has shown up in all of our last 4 games. Crazy. But anyway, right after that, Witherspoon gets a pick. Witherspoon gets a pick. Second pick of the night. Jumps the slant and takes it back 42 yards. He ran out of gas. And, you know, I was laughing at Tony because Tony was telling me that one of his partners texted him and said he's a bum. He should have scored. I mean, guys, the dude, he probably was tired. I mean, they've been running and chasing people all night. I mean, it is what it is. Everybody don't score. I mean, but I'm happy that the dude returned it 42 yards because he put us in position. 13th drive, Ben finds Freiermuth. Cornerback fell down, which was Breland, I believe it was. And then Ben finds Deontay Johnson for the 2-point conversion. At this point, it's 36-28. Wow. What was the score at halftime? Was it 29-0? Something like that? Or 26? It was something like that. It was a huge lead by the Vikings. And here come the Steelers come roaring back. Next up, 3rd and 9. Cousins was able to convert with the pass to Cook, beating Marcus Allen, who was playing inside linebacker. I saw some Buddy Johnson out there tonight as well. The Steelers were able to finally get off the field on the next 3rd and 8. Great coverage by Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I thought the referees was going to kill us right there. But they conversed, picked up the flag. There was absolutely no reason for a flag there. Great coverage by Minkah. We get the ball back. But what do you know? Jordan Berry with a great punt against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This dude decides to punt. And the drive starts on the 4. Sidebar. Presley got to get his consistency together, man. Presley Harvin has got to find a way to be consistent. I'm just saying. Because now, you know what? He's starting to look like Jordan Berry with his consistency. Ain't that funny? Steelers start to drive on the 4-yard line. And at this point, you're like, wow. But hey, Claypool draws a pass interference on Breland, but makes a heck of a tough catch. Again, all of his catches are 50-50 balls. 38-yard pickup. Ben drives all the way down the field to the 12-yard line. Again, from our own 4 to the 12, and was threatening and made a beautiful throw. Put it in a spot where only Freiermuth was either going to catch it or not. Freiermuth brings it in. A heck of a play by Harrison Smith. You know, both safeties converge on Freiermuth, and he just couldn't bring it in. And again, I am sure you're going to see people in Steeler Nation are going to be all over him for the drop dog. In that situation, he's lucky to have – he would have been lucky to have caught that. It was a great play. It was bang, bang. Harrison Smith made the play, got his hand on the ball, and knocked it out. It just is what it is. You know, come on. Don't beat Freiermuth up for that. It is what it is. And honestly, man, listen, I told y'all the Vikings were not a bad team. The Vikings have been playing these close games. So what? They lost to Detroit, right? It just reinforces what I always say, any given Sunday. And that was a divisional opponent. There were a lot of factors that happened tonight, okay? That a high emotional game that the Steelers played. I know some people are going to say, yeah, well, the Vikings had a high emotional game against their divisional opponent, but they lost. It took everything we had probably to win that game against the Ravens. And again, that's not an excuse. When you lace up them laces, strap that helmet on, You're supposed to ball. But anyway, let's get into some other stuff. Then I'm going to get right into the chat. And then I'm out of here. Some takeaways. Mike Tomlin literally said, "Wow, man," on the sideline. Did y'all see that? When we were getting blown out? That was funny. We got another donation here, man, from Terrence S. Thank you for the donation. Let me read your comment. This is an interesting comment. He says, after the recap at some point, can we discuss how well Connor is doing and address how us not going with offensive line in this draft is going to cost the season? All right. We can definitely discuss that really quick, Terrence. Listen, here's the funny thing. I recall last year, most people wanted James Conner out of town, right? I recall having disagreements with a lot of people, even my father-in-law, Leonard. There were times when my father-in-law, Leonard, told me that James Conner wasn't a good running back and this and this and that. And I said, no, man, it's the offensive line. James Conner is a serviceable running back. Remember last year when we had a few games early in the season where both him and Benny Snell rushed for 100 yards, and then all of a sudden we just went into the dumps as the season went on? Remember that? And I kept saying, listen, man, it ain't Conner. That's number one. So I was never down on Conner as a running back. The reason why most people preferred Conner not to be in Pittsburgh any longer, as far as, remember, re-signing him. It's not like Conner could stay there and just be on a current contract. Remember, most people, myself included, were not in favor of re-signing him because of his injury history. That's it. That's all. So I find it funny, and I'm not saying that you're doing this, Terrence, but people have been hitting me up relentlessly. Like, man, you see what Connor's doing? We should have never. I'm like, dog, y'all act like the Steelers got rid of him just to get rid of him. We all can admit that Conner was not healthy and available. That's the main reason why they decided and elected not to re-sign him. He's having a great year this year. Great. But here's the funny thing. Are we going to say that we'd rather have Conner over Najee? And I'm not trying to compare Najee and Conner. I'm just saying when people make that statement, they act as if we still didn't acquire a great running back who is going. This Najee Harris is about to be a serious problem in this NFL. I'm just letting y'all know that. And I think it's evident. And then again, I can't say we didn't go offensive line. The Steelers drafted 2 offensive linemen. Now, if you want to say that they should have tried to draft someone earlier, that's fair. That's fair. But I tell you what, had we drafted some of those offensive linemen earlier, right? Let's say we didn't get a Najee Harris, we didn't get Pat Freiermuth. I can almost guarantee that what we would be talking about right now is we don't have an elite runner because most people don't believe in Benny Snell, right? We weren't going to get Sermon or any of those guys because you saw where they went. I'm just saying, like, the team is not always going to draft who we all think they're supposed to draft and when they're going to get them. You cannot, it's hard to pass a Najee Harris. It's just hard to pass him at that spot. And it's definitely hard to pass Pat Freiermuth when the Steelers have been dying for a tight end of his caliber. So I'm just saying, it's easy to say in hindsight, we should have did this, we should have did that. But that's all I can say. But anyway, let's get back to what I was going to say here, man. Mike Tomlin is 0-2 with challenges this season. The only good news about that is he's only challenged twice. Steelers cannot stop the run. Vikings had 90 yards in the first quarter. Dalvin Cook at 144 yards on the ground in the first half. Joe Schobert appears to be shooting the wrong gaps at times. I've talked about this before. We all know how we feel about Devin Bush, right? But again, I'm going to say this again. This might not be the most popular opinion. Devin Bush, to me so far, in the last 2 games, has looked better than he has been previously. Now, that opinion may change when I watch the film, because let me tell you, that run defense, I'm looking at everybody when I rewatch this game. It was horrible. not only am I looking at everybody to see who did what, I'm going back and I'm going to watch these formations and personnel, because what do I always say? I blame coaches for personnel, scheme, play call. Execution is on the players. So as much as people want to have the knee-jerk reaction and they want to fire this coach, fire that coach, sit this player, cut this player, I can never do that off of my first watch. It is no way you can do that. And I know the media pundits are going to do it. I know all of the websites, the Steelers sites, and I'm not taking shots at nobody. I'm just saying there's usually only one site that you guys know I really, really, really respect, because I know they do their due diligence, and like they probably already rewatching the game. So by the time you hear from them tomorrow, they'll have more to talk about, right? But I don't listen to all of that. I give my opinion based off of what I see. So until I can rewatch the game and see the formations, personnel, and stuff like that, I can't literally say with confidence what the game plan was tonight. All I know for sure is it was not working. It wasn't working. In the first half, we kind of limited them a little bit more in the third, and then of course in the fourth. I just don't get it, man. Like, those holes were so wide open. And sometimes it did look like personnel. They caught us slipping sometimes in nickel, and they spread us out like I've asked Matt Canada to do. Spread out and run the ball. Some of them holes, it was just so open. And here's the funny thing. The Vikings were ranked the 29th team against the rush coming into this game. And it's crazy how we couldn't really get it's weird, man. All of the stuff that I said was keys to victory last night from our offensive line just went down the toilet, man. Steelers could not stop Jefferson. Mostly deep crossing routes. Steelers were unable to pick up the blitzing early by the Vikings. Even Najee had some trouble with pass pro. Taco Charlton, I got to shout him out. Taco had a lot of pressures in this game. I don't know if you guys were paying attention. The boy Taco had quite a few pressures in this game. And then I got to say here, bad snaps by KG. Listen, I've gotten to the point, man, where I definitely think Kendrick Green got a long way to go, man. At this point, I don't know if center is going to be it for him. I don't know. I really don't know. He's got a long way to go if he expects to continue to play center. He's probably going to have to move to guard, because I don't know. I mean, he's going to have to make a huge transformation between now, training camp, and preseason for me to have a different opinion. Now let's get to the office visits. Mike Tomlin. Come on in this office. Oh, you see me hit the mic? Come into my office, Mike Tomlin. I have to criticize you. Oh, whoa, what? Is Sim, is he criticizing Mike Tomlin? What? He never does that. That's what y'all say. Mike Tomlin, come on in the office, man. I got to ask you something. As good of a coach that I believe that you are, great coach even, has been a very good, very great coach in your tenure. Got the wins, got a Super Bowl, went to another. Great winning percentage. Haven't had a losing season yet. I say yet because this one is threatening. Playoff record, though, got to be better. It's got to be better. That's a fair criticism of you. But my biggest criticisms of you, my biggest criticisms of Mike Tomlin, you, sir, is your time management and your utilization of challenges. Everybody saw that was a fumble. And again, I don't know if it's just you or the people in the booth, but we got to put it on you because you're always looking up at the, now you're in Minnesota. I don't know if they showed you, if they showed the replay. I know some stadiums won't, but at the same time, the same stuff happens in Heinz Field. I don't know what you guys be looking at, but like I said, you're the head man. I got to put it on you. That was a fumble, clear fumble. There was no reason to challenge that. Here's the other thing I got to get on you about. Why ain't nobody call a timeout on that 4th and 1 that we got to delay a game for? Now, some people might not remember that because the game, it didn't hurt us, so to speak. I even heard Troy Aikman say, well, actually, them punting helped them. We got the interception right after that. Okay, but I still have to criticize the decision. And I say decision because somebody should have called a timeout. Whether it was you, somebody on the staff, Ben, I don't get it. I don't get it. I know you're in another stadium, it's loud, but you're looking at the clock, Ben. Coach, I hope you would be looking at the clock. I don't understand why a timeout was not called there. Weird. And again, time management and challenges has been the things that I have not really been a fan of yours as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, I still think Mike Tomlin is a good coach. That's how I feel. I even think he's a great coach. There's my opinion. And like I said, I will not argue that opinion with anybody else. Some of y'all just hate him, and that just is what it is. I put it on Twitter during the game. And I'm going to say this here. I can't wait till the day that Mike Tomlin is not the head coach of the Steelers. You know why? Because I really feel like as a whole, as a collective Steeler Nation, they don't appreciate what he does. And again, that's not me telling you to like him or hate him. I'm just saying, boy, I can't wait till that day comes. Let him go somewhere else. And I'm just saying, because I'm telling you, I'm going to be right here when the next coach is there. And I'm going to be keeping an eye on all of those who just hate everything. And it ain't even just a Mike Tomlin thing. I think it's just the way some of y'all watch football. Because here's the thing. When you watch people make these comments, right, let's just forget that it's Mike Tomlin. The first thing people say is, man, that coach needs to be fired. Man, that coach didn't have them ready to play. Oh, man, every time something goes sour, it's the head coach's fault. That is crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Nobody really blames the players for the way they execute. Like I said, we're going to watch the film and see what type of defenses Tomlin and Butler put on the field. Shout outs to Alex Kazor. I saw Alex even tweeted during the game, this was the worst defensive plan ever in the Tomlin, by Tomlin. And that's fair. But like I said, I don't operate that way. I couldn't tell what our defensive plan was tonight because there's no way I can sit here and tell y'all tonight every formation we ran, every, gap assignment. I can't. I don't see all of that in real time. And I don't think they do either. And again, like I said, I love Alex Kazor. That's his opinion. So maybe there was something that he noticed, because remember, Alex and Dave do this for a living. It's probably stuff that they've noticed really quick, like, oh, Steelers doing that again, that I didn't notice. So I'm just giving you my reason as to why I can't come here tonight and say that. I watched the game again, I might have a different opinion. But even regardless of all of that, what about last week? What about Sunday? It's just strange that people didn't give not only Mike Tomlin, but any of the coaches real credit last week. It's only when they lose. And that's the reason why I laugh and I get on people for always going to coaches. Because you rarely hear when the coaches win a game. Or, what about when we went to Buffalo? And who expected that week 1? You'd never hear the credit. It's only when they lose. Now the coaches don't know what they're doing, or they got out-coached. But let me tell you something. That's usually the case if we're going to use it in general. Out-coached means that this plan worked better than that plan. So every time we win, did we out-coach the other team? I'm just saying, keep it consistent. Keep it consistent. But like I said, I can't wait till he's not the Steelers head coach. And I want to see if the same energy is spent on that head coach. Because I can tell you right now, regardless of who that guy is, he's going to do stuff that we don't like. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. But that defense tonight, man, listen. Before I throw it to you guys in the chat. Oh, hold up. There's another office visit. Chase Claypool, bring your dancing, practice, music listening self into this office. Chase Claypool, let's count the ways. First of all, I haven't gotten on you about this in the office setting, but this is something that I need you to know too. Sir, you don't get separation. You don't. You don't. You don't get separation. That's one thing I'm going to need you to start doing better. Listen, maybe it's not in your wheelhouse, not in your repertoire. However, you're big enough, you're fast enough. You should be getting separation. You know why? Because James Washington can get separation. I'm not even going to be, I'm not going to compare you to Deontay. That's not even fair. I've been saying for the longest time, no disrespect to you, Chase, but I've been telling the lovely people here in the chat that Deontay Johnson is the number one receiver because Sim don't forget. It's one of the qualities that a good Lord has given me. I have a very, very good memory, even a photographic memory at times. It's weird. I used to do it as a kid. My parents would tell you. But I remember when they said Deontay Johnson wasn't a number one receiver. I remember when people right here in this chat told me that Steelers don't have a number one. I think Deontay Johnson is starting to prove that wrong. We got a donation. Hold on, Chase. I got to read this donation really quick. Round of applause to Lydell Dorsey. He says James Washington showed Claypool had to go and get it, didn't he? Didn't I also say, again, when I say these things, guys, let me put this out on the table. I'm not one of those people that think I'm always right and all that. That's not me. But I will repeat stuff that I know I've said, that I've observed. I said a long time ago, too, that James Washington was our best receiver at going to get it. And again, I don't think that's anything that you don't have to be a rocket science to know that. If you watch the game, James Washington goes and gets the ball. Chase Claypool did it a couple times tonight, too. But James Washington shows you how to go and get that thing. He is actually better than Chase Claypool, in my opinion, right now, with 50-50 balls. Sometimes Claypool's getting better. Don't get me wrong. I'm not down on Claypool. I'm just saying I need you, Claypool, to be more aggressive, number one. You're starting to do it a little bit. We've seen it a couple times this season, but you're going to have to find a way to get better separation. You're going to have to work on your routes and your open field speed, bruh. Like, it's too many guys are able to run step in step with you. Like, and again, it's the NFL, but how are guys that are perceived to be slower than you getting separation? You're going to have to do better than that. You know why? This is the reason why you definitely got to do it. Because obviously you're not working on that because you're too busy worrying about music. You want to party and party and only the real hip hop heads would know what song that is. I didn't say the second word. But that's what you want to do at practice. Practice. You rather have music out there. Now again, that might be a little tongue-in-cheek, but I'm just saying, sometimes when you say stuff to be funny, boy, does it come back to bite you. Ask Juju. Ask Juju how the fan base do him for TikTok and stuff as soon as we lose. But anyway, Chase, here's another thing I got a problem with. You almost fumbled that ball away. You got lucky. But here's a big problem I got. What type of block attempt was that on that 3rd and 1? Come on, bro. You make that block, just get your body in the way. Najee probably gets the first down. Here's the last thing. Dude, the Steelers have less than 40 seconds on the clock in the 4th quarter with no timeouts. You pick up the first down and you start celebrating instead of getting the ball to Ben Roethlisberger to clock it. You over there. But you know the type of people that do that? Dancers. You probably had music playing in your head, so you was like, yeah, first down. Oh, hey, first down. That's probably what you did because that music was in your head. So the first thing you wanted to do is do the point. You know how people do when they boogie in the club, they see somebody, that's what you were doing because in your head, music was playing. You know, you play the same way you practice. Get out of the office, man. I'm done with you. Plain and simple. This is why the Steelers lost tonight. Y'all can blame whoever you want to blame. I'm not blaming the coaches yet as far as game plan. I got to see what we had. What were we doing in that first quarter, first half defensively? I got to see it. However, that run defense, why y'all surprised, man? Have we not been talking about how bad the run defense has been, say, over the last 6 weeks of the season? 7 even? Let's go all the way back to the Seattle game. And it just got progressively worse. For whatever reason. Some people will say it's because Stephon Tuitt is not out there. Alualu's not out there. That's fair. But even if you want to say that, then the truth is the Steelers can't stop the run when they need to. Or they do it a little too late. We have 2 great games and 2 great run defenses against 2 of our biggest division foes. I can't even say 2 because we have 3 now, really. Because Cleveland, is really a rivalry with us again. They're not the same old Cleveland, even though they're not winning that much. But when we seem to play them, it's tight games or they beat us recently. Right? Last season. Cincinnati has definitely now is brewing to be a rivalry again. And you already know what type of rivalry we have with the Ravens. So we're able to stop the run against the Ravens and the Browns. But all them other teams. So this is not new. This is what I'm saying. Any of you guys that were surprised by what you saw, why are you surprised? I've been telling y'all this for weeks. I've been saying for weeks, this run defense is horrendous. And they seem to lock it down in the second quarter. Now, defense or second half. Defense got better in the second half. Who are we giving that credit to? So here's how I flip the script. And here's how I will say, this is why you can't lock so much in on coaches and because you don't give any substance, right? So who do we give the credit to for the team sticking together and almost coming back? Who gets that credit? Were the players executing better? Did the coaching staff make adjustments? What happened there? I don't really know yet. It did look like we made some defensive adjustments, but I need to see. Again, this is how I operate. I'm not a knee-jerk guy. That's what this show is for. But at the same time, I got to go back and watch the film and say, all right, what did we do differently? How did we change this? Are we in the same formations? Did we have different personnel in there? Are guys executing better? Those are the questions that I need to see before I can come back and tell you guys the next time I see y'all who I blame for that loss. But point blank period, man, the offense couldn't block nobody in the first half. The defense couldn't stop nobody from running. The defense couldn't stop play action. The defense couldn't touch Dalvin Cook, and they couldn't touch Jefferson. That's why the Steelers lost. And the same old offense we've been seeing all year got the cranking too late. Too late. You're a little too late. Oh, you almost had it. Gotta be quicker than that. That's why they lost. Excuse me. But now let's do it. I'm going to spend some time with y'all tonight. It's already 12:43. I'm going to spend a little bit of time with y'all. Give it to me. Why did we lose this game tonight? Who do you blame? I just want to see what y'all have to say. Let's see. What we got? Marlon Nicholson says, I'd hate to beat the dead horse, but I'll just say this I wonder, even with the bums on the D-line, I wonder how the run D would perform under Belichick versus Tomlin. I bet they play different. Maybe they would, Marlon. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not arguing with any of you guys about Tomlin anymore. Ever. I'm never doing it again. Y'all have y'all opinion. I'll have mine. She'll have hers. He'll have his. That's it. So I'll just read the comments and okay. But I will say this. It's funny how a lot of times Tomlin is always, when people say who would do better, they always say Belichick. And again, Belichick is probably the best coach we've seen, period. So that's almost like saying, man, this quarterback is good, but he ain't no Brady. Yeah, well, who's Brady? So, you get these wonders every now and then. You get these wonder people, these phenomenal music artists or the greatest athlete, or, you get those people every era. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick has been that in this last era. Period. Whether you call them cheaters or what, it don't matter. They have been that duo. And nobody else has replicated that. So to try to compare them to Belichick, good luck with that. I don't think you get an argument from nobody. Haas Jaffer says, yes, Tomlin is not coaching. Why can't he fix the offensive line? Okay. I'll let you have that opinion as well, sir. In the Green says, we have always had slow starts with Big Ben. Even when the D, when we had a good offensive line. Yeah, you could kind of say that. It's been rare that the Steelers have actually gotten off and jumped on top of the teams. Speaking of the Patriots, I used to always say that about the Patriots, how not only did they start fast back in the day sometimes, but they never let their foot off the gas. That's one thing I always respected about the Patriots. When they had you down, they had you down. They tried to bury you, and I used to get on the Steelers for that. We always used to go into the prevent defense, and we make it close for no reason. But it's a lot of things that you can pick at with other teams, man, when your team isn't doing it. It's just one of those things. But like I said, I try not to get caught up in all of that as a fan. Mr. Ab says, basically, we lost in the trenches on the offensive line and defensive line. Yet again, those are important words. Yet again. Winning up front allows running backs to gain yardage, quarterbacks to make quality throws, and the secondary to make plays. Absolutely. That's where we lost the game. Clear. Like I said, it will be determined, yet for me to determine what happened. Because we could very well have just put a poo-butt effort out there as far as formations and stuff like that. But, I got to watch the film to know that, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just not somebody that can scan all of that on first watch. I just can't. And if you can, then you guys need to be doing something else other than commenting on this. Who else we got? El Capo says, do you think Tomlin was calling defensive plays early in the game? I don't know. I can't answer that. And again, that's a great question, El Capo. But again, this is the reason why, if you guys ever want to know why Sim thinks the way I think, there's certain things that we never know. We have no way of knowing. As soon as you saw Ben Roethlisberger mouth something at Tomlin, oh my Lord, y'all should have saw Twitter. See, even Ben, I'm like, y'all don't know what the man said. And then right after the commercial break, him and Tomlin is chopping it up. And they look regular. But this is what I always say. I'm not a highlight watcher. I'm not a highlight watcher fan. I don't make speculations based on stuff that I have no idea about. But that's a great question, El Capo, because we'll never know. And that's the thing. All right, so let's say if Tomlin was calling them early in the game, then his defense got beat up, and then maybe Butler took over in the second half. See, none of us know. But I'm so glad you asked that question, because those are the points that I be trying to make. When people be trying to say it's exactly Tomlin's fault because of this, it be stuff that y'all have no idea about. That's why I always say, give me some substance. Give me some football stuff. Like if you come back and say, man, look, this is what I noticed. They was running this formation, this personnel against this, against that. That's never going to work. Then I would say, you know what, you're right. But if you don't have substance, it's really just speculation or an opinion based off of highlights. Yag TV says O-line is the reason Ben and Harris have multiple defenders around them at the beginning of the line of scrimmage. Yeah, behind the line of scrimmage. You're right. Facts on facts. Sam Gale says Big Ben problem is he doesn't practice during the week, so it takes him a while to warm up. Excuse me. That could have some merit to it. I'm not sure though. Reason why I say I'm not sure about that is we think about the games that Ben has been great. We've seen some. Ben has had the same routine for years. But at the same time, you could be right. I don't know. But honestly, I honestly don't think Ben needs to practice to be able to play well. I mean, he's an 18-year vet. He just doesn't practice on Wednesday. You know, he does practice the other 2 days. So I don't know if that is a big problem, but, you know, good point. James Tresvant says execution on defense and offense, focusing on the wrong things. The young skilled player seems to have a selfish way of thinking. That's right, because you hear the coaching staff always say guys are not doing their job, guys are not winning their one-on-ones, but they also say they're not playing their gaps. That's execution. Miss Debbie, hey Miss Debbie, how you doing tonight? Up late with us tonight, appreciate that. She says, I still say the game was lost in the trenches on both sides of the ball. Defense got run on. Cook had 200 yards. Offense could not keep defenders out of the backfield. How many times was Ben hit or sacked? Yeah, man, it got bad for a minute. It got bad for a minute where I was almost saying bring Mason Rudolph in because I don't want to see Ben get killed. And then we started scoring a little bit. And then next thing you know, we almost had an opportunity to possibly tie the game. What else we got? Marlon says Tom Brady is older than Ben and still practices every day. Man, like I said, I don't get into all of that, man. I just disagree, guys. I disagree with thinking that one game that Ben doesn't practice is affecting the way he plays. One game? I mean, one day? We're talking about Wednesday. Like I said, I mean, I respect everyone's opinion. I just disagree. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I mean, by the time you're in the NFL level, I don't know. Knight Rider says Ben had no time to throw the ball because of the O-line, was confused by the linebacker stepping into the gaps pre-snap, and it confused them. O-line coach got to show them that so they can recognize it. Yeah, but, you know, again, Knight Rider, I just be careful with making statements about what coaches have to do because, like I said, someone who's played sports and played ball, it was a lot of times where the coaches had us in perfect position to do stuff and we just messed it up. So I try to shy away from saying what coaches do and don't do in terms of players. Like when people say, man, the coaches got to help them tackle, or the coaches got, like, do we really think on an NFL level that none of these coaches are teaching technique? Like, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, that offensive line was bad in the first half too, man. It really was. Afro Thunder says, Dan Marino was the same way when it comes to practice when he got older. I'm just saying, man. Practice is, come on, man. Dan Matt says, you seen Witherspoon out there with that good jamming for the pick. Though that's what we need outside. Yeah, man, Witherspoon had a bad go at it early in the game. You know, he got beat across the field. The Jefferson was, you know, stumbling and all that. But I think he showed himself well again tonight. You know, 'cause that was a great play on that slant. You know, he read it, he jumped it, got the pick, and it was a kind of a tough catch. Ball hit him down low. So, yeah, I think James Pierre is probably not going to get back on the field, man, especially when you're seeing Justin Lane play outside in nickel. Wow. Matt G says Joe Hayden needs to pay all his money back to the organization and retire. Why? Joe Hayden ain't even been on the field in 3 weeks. Like, and the man is injured. Like, so, wow, you being real tough on that man. Oh, man. KB says, Ben said he said, I got sacked 4 times. I read those lips. Maybe, man. But again, people the highlight watchers was making it a Tomlin Ben thing. And I'm like, if we were so privileged to hear all of the conversation, I'm sure that goes on during the game. Come on, man. Let's see. Miss Debbie says, Sim, people need reasons to blame Ben. This was not on Ben, and Ben says he doesn't physically practice, but he watches film. Come on, man. I'm just saying, Debbie. Maybe I'm talking crazy. Dr. Trey, says, just let Ben pad his stats as much as possible. That's all the season really is at this point. I mean, I told y'all, man. like Joe Mannix is saying, I've been telling y'all this season was over. I told y'all. And this is another thing that I've been saying, right? They gonna do just enough to give you that hope, that little glimpse, because they're gonna be competitive. You know why? Because I do think the head coach that they have is gonna keep them competing. Whether you want to bring up the playoff record and all that, I mean, we all know the woes, but I'm just saying, because we have that type of team and that coach and that culture, they're going to do enough to compete. But this team is not going anywhere. Not this year, folks. And here's the funny thing. They'll mess around and come home and beat the Titans, right? Might even mess around. Might. I doubt it. But they might even mess around. No, they ain't going to do that. I'm not even going to say they're going to go beat the Chiefs. But this is what they might end up doing. So what are they? 6-1, right? They'll mess around and go home and beat the Titans. Then they'll get out the flight, go out to Kansas City, probably lose that game. That's going to put them at what? 7-1. Then they'll come home and they'll beat Cleveland, perhaps, right? Maybe they get a sweep on Cleveland. That'll make them 8-7-1. And then they'll mess. Oh, wait, do I got it too many? That's 16. Yeah, and then they'll play the Ravens in Baltimore. And depending on what's on the line, right? Let's assume the Ravens are in a position where they have nothing to play for. Steelers mess around and win that game, right? And then the Steelers end up with a record of, 9-7-1 or something like that. That's my math right? Yeah, that's 17. I'm just saying. But they're not going anywhere. Even if they get in the playoffs, this team, is time for you guys to admit it. The way they have currently played, as bad as they are against the run early in games, as slow as the offense starts, as young as that offensive line is, as fragile as that secondary is, this team is going nowhere. I can promise you right now, if they somehow got on a run and they wiggled their way into the playoffs, they're going to be one and done. Guarantee you. Because we're just not that team right now. I'm sorry. Hate to be the one to say it. Football Mind says, Sim, don't give these NFL coaches too much credit. I've been up in personal with the Steelers defensive staff. I'll admit Jerry O was one of the worst I've observed close in person, and he's not the only one. Hey man, maybe you have. Listen, I don't know your background. I'm just saying. I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm naive. But I'm sorry. I just do not believe, again, for the umpteenth time, I do not believe that Mike Tomlin does not know what he's doing. You cannot last in the NFL all of this time without having a season worse than 8-8 for this amount of time if you don't know what you're doing. They're NFL coaches. Like, I'm not a coach. And I'm not, disagreeing with what Football Mind said. I'm just saying, guys, obviously they know something. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not I'm not ready to admit any of that. But hey, you guys have your opinion. I'm not going to disagree with it. Chaka Hightower says the reason we support Tomlin the way we do, outside of being a great coach, we respect him just as much for being a great man, a man's man. Salute. Yeah, I do think he's a great guy too, man. But of course, I'm going to judge him for what he does for the team. I mean, again, I've just heard too many stories and I've seen too many things that tells you otherwise. That he is a great coach. He's just, hey, like I said, the biggest critique I have on Mike Tomlin is I would think we would have more than one Super Bowl under his tenure. I think we would have more playoff wins under his tenure. It would. He's had great seasons, back-to-back 12-4s and all of that. I would have thought that we perhaps would have had a chance to win a Super Bowl when the Killer Bees was there, but then our defense was trash. But that's my critique. It is what it is. And like I said, if you take it to that bare minimum, how many other coaches around the NFL can we plug in this spot and the outcome is going to be any different? Ain't many. There might be one or two that might do about the same. I'm just saying. But let's see what else y'all got. A few more minutes, man. It's 1 a.m., guys. And here I've been here already an hour and 12 minutes, and I said I wasn't. Dom says, now they have to rebuild again. That's it. That is it. This team is just, yeah. Football Mind says, all I'm saying is just because an NFL coach is an NFL coach doesn't mean they have the most knowledge of the game. I know D3 coaches who are much more qualified than the same NFL. That might be possible, Football Mind, but all I'm saying is, let's break this down to the very, very simplest compound. None of the coaches on the Steelers staff or any other team staff, for that matter, are as lame a ducks as the fan base would make you believe. These guys are not clueless. None of them. No NFL coach at any level to me is clueless. Unless somehow he snuck in. And to say that there's Division III or college coaches that are more knowledgeable than some of them guys, well, let's not forget, some of those guys end up getting NFL jobs. Let's not forget Deion Sanders, a Jackson State coach. Would you say that Deion Sanders might know a little more than a certain coach, or certain coaches in the NFL at whatever level, whether it's head coach or coordinator? Possibly, because he knows the game. So that, to me, that's not even a, like I said, I'll take the NFL tag off of it. I just will say this. The fan base acts as if these coaches are completely clueless. And that is hilarious to me. Y'all are hilarious that think that. Like, come on, man. Like, won't y'all go do it? You said what? You said you're sorry, but atom gases exist? Okay. But hey, I'm not here to change you guys' opinion. Y'all tune in to hear my opinion. So that's the only reason why I give mine. I'm not here to change nobody's opinion. I'm not here to change anybody's opinion. I just, like I said, I just try to keep things realistic, man. I'm just trying to keep things realistic. Never a playoff win with Tomlin. Okay. Marlon, don't. I'm not Marlon, but see, and Marlon, you my man too. But guys, you said as a black man, I will say that I'm disappointed that Tomlin has never hired a black offensive or defensive coordinator. I'm going to let the chat answer that one. I don't even have to. I'm going to let the chat handle that one. Now we reaching. Now we really reaching now. There's so many layers to that. So many layers to that. And like I said, Marlon, you my guy. There's so many layers to what you just said, man. I think we can go ahead and go off of that one. I'm letting y'all. Yeah, I see the chat. Y'all Yeah, I'll let him have y'all take care of that one. Y'all take care of that one. Listen, we know the Steeler history. We know how the hiring goes. We know the rift between Butler and Dick LeBeau. We know all of that. We know the Steelers don't. Come on, man. I know that ain't what we saying now. Come on, Marlon. Not that. Oh, look at this. Here we go. Here go the trolls. Let me get them out of here. I'm about to sign off anyway, but hey, I'm already up, man. I figure I go hop in the shower and just have a. Oops. I'll just be up a little later. I'll just get less sleep. Let me block this one channel. Give me a second, guys. Yeah, Marlon. Like I said, you my guy, man. But that one, I don't know. I don't know. Again. Remember what I said, guys, early on. I try not to comment on stuff that I don't know to be fact. I just don't. None of us know this. Nobody knows the autonomy that Tomlin has with hiring coaches. Nobody knows that. That's why, look, this is just me by nature. I'm not a speculator. Even when I guess something, I try to use educated facts. I try to make an educated guess if I don't have facts. I just can't make an opinion on stuff that I don't know to be true or false. Jay Underrated says, we need to stop talking bad about Coach Tomlin. It's enough. We need to chill. The big problem all the years with this team is not having no cap money and giving the money to Ben. There's some legitimacy there. As far as how the Steelers, how they prefer to do contracts and things like that. So there's a little legitimate, legitimate. I can't get the word out. Legitimacy. See, it's too late. I can't say it. I said the word right the first time. I can't say it now. Kirk Stevenson says Tomlin is never going to be the problem. He is a leader of men. That blocking wasn't there tonight for Ben, and mistakes pile up and accumulate. They did great coming back. Claypool burned me celebrating. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. But hey, man, like I said. Oh, let me read what Debbie said. Debbie says, wow, pull out a photo of the Steelers staff when Tomlin started and look at the staff progressively today. There's a difference. Bruh, and what does this have to do with the tea in China? I love Debbie, man. Yeah, I don't know, Marlon. Like I said, you my man, but that was a little bit of a reach right there, brother. But like I said, guys, listen. And football mind as well. Some of you guys that I know that really know your football stuff, man, at least you appear to be, watch the film. Let's watch the film. I got until Tuesday to come back and tell y'all what went wrong and what I thought went wrong. I got to watch the film. Again, I don't run off and blame. You didn't hear me say nothing about Butler tonight, right? I can't completely blame him until I see the film. Sometimes you can see it when it's blatant, right? You can see when we just blitz or something like that. But tonight, I don't really know what the main issue was because them holes were so far wide open. I'm like, wow, like what is going on? I have to go watch the film and then I can come back and tell y'all, all right, this was the problem. And if Tomlin was the one who put this defensive plan in play, that's a problem. If Butler put this in play, that's a problem. But like I said, you notice I haven't said anything about Butler tonight because I just don't know yet. Round of applause to Yag TV. Thank you for the donation. He says, what I didn't like is that when we would get a positive play and then turn around and give the yardage back with the penalty. Yeah, man, just poor execution by the team, man. Poor execution. Poor. Javon Lewis says, Can we talk about how the Steelers cut David DeCastro for Trey Turner? Chat, can y'all handle that one too? See, I'm gonna stop talking sometimes. I'm gonna let the chat handle certain things. Because the reason why I'm gonna start doing that in some scenarios, I don't want you to hear from me. Just so y'all know I ain't crazy. Just so y'all know I'm not crazy, I'm gonna let other people take, answer the questions to some of these things. Steelers cut David DeCastro for Trey Turner. That was what they want to talk about. Man, I'm sorry, fans, but I can't not be me. I'm just gonna be me from now on, man. Sometimes I hold it back, but you know what? Y'all like me for who I am, and sometimes I just gotta call a spade a spade. This is what I be talking about. This is what I'm talking about. When people don't have no idea what's going on the field with players and these be the people and I know some of y'all got legitimate concerns about the coaching, but these be the people that just say stuff like, oh, he should be fired, because they don't really know everything. And that's fair. That's fair. But if you come over here with not just me, but with the people that's in this chat that know they stuff, they gonna call it out. David DeCastro, the comment was, let's talk about the Steelers cutting David DeCastro for Trey Turner. Boy, y'all got some crazy expectations, man. Man said David DeCastro should have got a needle in his ankle and kept on pushing. All right, man, I'm out of here, man. Listen, I love y'all. I love each and every one of y'all. Even the comments that I don't agree with, and even the comments that I feel like is totally crazy, I'm going to just start calling them out. Like I said, I think y'all appreciate me for that. And I want y'all to call me out on stuff too. It's a two-way street. I'm not emotional. You can say something about me and I'll be like, all right, cool. Right? Or if I'm wrong about something, I'm a man about mine. I say, you know what? I was wrong about that. But man. All right, I'm out of here, man. Y'all have a great night. Listen, y'all won't see me again until Tuesday, more than likely, unless there's some big news to talk about. Unless we find out there's a significant injury with Highsmith or TJ. Like, let's say both of their seasons are done or something like that. I'm sure I'll do another video just to report it. Hopefully not. But again, I will end with this. There's no need for you to have these high hopes for this team. I've been telling y'all that. It is what it is, guys. It's the end of an era. Ben Roethlisberger will be retiring in 4 games, and we on to the next one. and guess what? We're going to have the same coach. We may have a different defensive coordinator. I believe Butler's on his last contract. So if they're not satisfied with his performance, then Butler could be on his way out, because if we're being honest, that run defense, that doesn't look good. And again, it's his job technically. So that's how the Steelers do it. They're going to let the contract expire. They won't renew it. And then we may have a new defensive coordinator, and then we can start talking about him and Tomlin, because Tomlin said he has a hand in all of the stuff. So you got to give Tomlin some of the blame. But that's your biggest reality right now is, what did the Steelers do in the draft? Who do they get at quarterback? Will it be a free agent? Will it be one of these kids? And, the quarterback draft, class doesn't appear to be deep. And that's really where you need to be focusing your energy right now. We're going to continue to watch them for the next 4 weeks or what have you. And we're going to support them like we always do. But that is your reality. Okay? Everybody cool with that? All right. Well, y'all have a great night. before you go, if you haven't done this already, I saw a couple of new subscribers tonight. Thank you all for that. But make sure you subscribe, man. Cut on your notifications as well so you know when videos are up and running. And last but not least, if you like what you saw tonight, I need you to do that. Hit that like button. Hit the like button. Show me you liked it. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike. I don't care. I like real feelings. All right? But outside of that, you guys have a great night, great weekend. God bless. Be safe. And of course, man, I always thank you guys for tuning in to the Terrible Towel post-game show. What was this? Week 14, Steelers versus Vikings. Catch you guys on Tuesday for Terrible Towel Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. See you then. Have a good night. Peace.